Okay, so anxiety in hairdressing. I have got some notes here that I'm going to be referring to. You'll find this in my videos. I don't try and make my videos too polished or overproduced. I just do simple vlogs about the topics I know about. So you will see me referring to notes. You know, I guess I'm a little bit old and I like to use my pen and paper. Regardless, anxiety. What is anxiety? So the NHS describe anxiety as a feeling of unease, such as worry or fear, that can be mild or severe. So if you've experienced anxiety, you will be very familiar with the kind of feelings you might get. If you're unsure about whether or not you're experiencing anxiety, it's something that will become clear as you start to research it more. But basically, anxiety, it's like feelings of worry about things that haven't happened yet. So if you find yourself running through scenarios in your mind about things that are going to happen or things that are possibilities, things that might happen, you feelings of worry surrounding future events, that can be classed as anxiety. So for example, if you work in a salon and you have one particular client that you just don't gel with, they give you a hard time whenever they come in and they really challenge you, on a one-to-one kind of level. It's their personality that challenges you. If you know they're booked in tomorrow and you start thinking about that appointment and you start thinking, oh no, Mrs. Jones is in tomorrow and I don't like her. I don't know how the interaction is going to be between us. I don't know what she's going to be like. I don't know what mood she's going to be in. She might be really grumpy with me. She might make me feel bad about myself. She might insult my work. She might create problems and want to get a discount. We've all got those clients who kind of have certain things that you recognise. There's certain things that you know about them because you work closely with them, right? So you would be able to gauge if they're the kind of client that's always trying to get a refund, or they're the kind of client that will always poke fun at what you're wearing. It takes all sorts. We do get these kind of clients sometimes. So if you have one of those clients booked in and you are nervous about it and it's causing you to be unsettled the evening before, it's causing you to be restless, it's disturbing your sense of well-being and calm, I'd term that as anxiety. Although anxiety comes in lots of different forms, that's just an example that you might find within your hairdressing job. I've written in my notes, how does it affect hairdressers? Well, our jobs are high pressure. We have a lot of expectation put on us as hairdressers because people expect their hair to be a certain way, people expect us to behave in a certain way, people expect us to be professional at all times, and people do have high expectations of us. The problem is the consequences of our actions can have severe, I can't word it that way. Our actions carry severe consequences if we do things wrong. So we need to be responsible enough to look after that client, look after their health and safety, look after their hair. We need to be appearing professional. We need to maintain ourselves to a high standard. There's so many areas of expectation that's put on us as hairdressers. So I think that hairdressers are particularly prone to anxiety because the stakes are high. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot to take care of. We're always concerned about our reputations. We have this phrase drummed into us that the best form of advertising is word of mouth. You're only as good as your last haircut. You need to maintain your reputation all the time so that you will continue to be successful, so that you'll build your client base. I feel like hairdressers have it in their head that we need to be afraid. We need to be afraid, otherwise we won't motivate ourselves to do well at our job. And we need to please people all the time. That's a message that the hairdressing industry pumps out to the stylists. It's like, you have got to make sure your clients are completely happy. Otherwise, bad things will happen to you. You won't get any return business. You won't be a good stylist. So I'm basically trying to say that I think hairdressers are under a lot of pressure. Some of it is completely unfounded to my way of thinking. That's some other area I can help you with on another day. If things go wrong for hairdressers, there are dire consequences. Like, if you don't patch test someone and they have an allergic reaction, we're talking serious life death stuff here. So no wonder hairdressers have a lot of anxiety. There's so much at stake, really, in our profession. We're also working to strict timeframes, which is another thing that's recognised as a factor that can cause anxiety. Be having deadlines, being under pressure in that way. With your time management, with client expectations, consequences being serious if you were to do things wrong. All these things are key factors in whether or not people experience stress and anxiety. Certain situations where I personally have felt anxious during my career, I mean, there have been countless times. I was never a confident hairdresser in my early days. I lacked confidence and self-esteem, actually. So it's taken me 19 years to get to a point where I do feel like I've built my self-confidence and my sense of worth. But I mainly specialise in bridal hair. When I was first doing bridal hair, I was riddled with anxiety, because you can imagine, you don't want to let a bride down on her wedding day. You can lay awake at night, the night before, going through everything. Have I packed everything? Have I left enough time to get to the venue? What if something goes wrong? You know, there's so many worries you can cause yourself by keep playing over future events in your mind. That's what I'm saying. The night before a wedding, I would play the future event over and over and over, trying to look at it from every angle, desperately trying to make sure that I wasn't going to mess anything up. Because to me, there was this huge fear of letting a bride down on her wedding day. So I put myself under a lot of pressure in the early days doing that bridal work. And I'm sure you've experienced very similar things. A lot of hairdressers won't do bridal hair because the pressure's too much. But it can just as easily be an anxiety about a colour service you're not experienced in, or some stylists don't like to do gents cuts. Some stylists won't do perms. We've all got our areas where we might shy away because we don't feel like we can handle it, or we can't live up to the expectation of the client. So it's common. It's so common to have anxiety as a hairdresser. What else have I got? So do you have anxiety? This might be a question that you're asking yourself. I would say that the thing to remember is there are different levels of anxiety. You can have mild anxiety, you can have moderate anxiety, severe, or in the most extreme cases, you could be suffering from something called generalised anxiety disorder. I'm not a GP, so I can't diagnose you with anything, but you can look into that for yourself. If you're really worried about it, you can look on the NHS website, or whichever website deals with medical situations in whatever country you happen to be in. You can go and see your doctor or your GP. You can actually, if you research online, you can do some tests to find out how much anxiety you're suffering with, and whether it be whether it's going to be moderate, severe, or an actual disorder, whether it's likely to be one of those things anyway. So do some research if you are concerned about your own anxiety. But to give you an idea, I noted down some of the symptoms of anxiety, and you may or may not get these in varying degrees. They are restlessness, a sense of dread, feeling constantly on edge, difficulty concentrating, and irritability. And these can vary in intensity depending on how mild or severe you have anxiety.